Well, to Downing Street now, where we can cross live to our political correspondent, Charanpreet Kaur. Now, how has John Prescott been remembered in Westminster today?
As we've been hearing, Lara, John Prescott really was a giant in British politics. So it comes as no surprise that his death has hung heavy over Westminster today. MPs from all political parties have been sharing their memories of him. And what's really stood out to me is the respect and admiration that so many have for the way that he converted his humble beginnings into a real staunch belief in standing up for the working class, and also for serving his constituents in Hull for 4 decades.
He was a titan of British politics in the 1990s, one of this country's greatest examples of social mobility, and a true patriot. No one who had 2 Jags could not love this country. And we all especially remember that moment when he connected with the electorate during the 2001 general election. Many of us all across the country and the public were very much on his side during that altercation.
John served the people of Hull for 40 years as a member of this House, 10 of them as Deputy Prime Minister. He was a towering figure in the Labour and trade union movement and a campaigner for workers. His fearless, loyal, active unionist and dedicated parliamentarian, an advocate for his constituents.
A visionary Transport Secretary and an icon of the new Labour government, an inspiration to working class boys and girls across our country for what our Labour movement can achieve. And our thoughts are with Pauline, his family and everyone who loved him in our whole Labour family.
So many tributes there. And when he wasn't in Hull, he spent a lot of time behind that black door behind you, didn't he, Charanpreet?
That's right, Lara. He was the longest ever serving Deputy Prime Minister, Tony Blair's right-hand man between 1997 and 2007. Now, I don't think we can ever underestimate just how crucial he was in getting Tony Blair's foot into that door and in keeping him there for so many years. In many ways, they were the perfect political pair. Blair was known as a slick talker, Prescott known as a straight talker. We'll never know exactly what happened behind that closed door. There were times that their relationship was tense for sure, but someone who was in the room throughout much of that time was Alistair Campbell, known as Tony Blair's spin doctor. He and John Prescott worked together intimately. The two of them are said to have mediated the somewhat fierce personality clashes between Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. He's been talking today about his relationship with John Prescott. They stayed friends for years, even going to watch Hull play football together, as Alistair Campbell has been remembering fondly today.
He and I went to a football match, and he wasn't that big a football fan. I went to see Burnley against Hull, and two things. One, he did not stop talking. He did not stop sort of commentating, telling me why Hull were better than Burnley, and even though he knew absolutely nothing about it. Another game I went to was where he fell asleep. John was somebody who worked every hour that God sends, and he slept whenever he could.
Well, that work ethic, especially considering that John Prescott sustained that over 40 years of being an MP, and also the way that he adopted Hull as his home, standing up for the people of Hull, even standing up for their football, is all part of his legacy. There's now a new Prime Minister living there, and of course a new Deputy Prime Minister too in Angela Rayner. And I think there's echoes of that Blair-Prescott relationship in the way that she and Sir Keir Starmer represent very different wings of the Labour Party. The two of them are certainly looking back to the success of that dynamic pair, and I'm sure that that's something that they will be striving to live up to.
It certainly will be. Charanpreet Kaur, thank you very much for a fascinating insight into